And it's like,
Yeah. I was like before I drop this knowledge bomb on Steph. No. Make sure we have this on camera. No, I mean
mm,
what I was gonna get at was, I mean, you've read on it for creatine. The way it works is the saturation
mhm.
of your creatine levels, and that, I mean, sometimes it sort of depends on body weight, but generally 5 grams is enough for everybody. But when you get bigger, sometimes you need 7 or whatever.
Mm.
I don't know, maybe because you're a little bit lighter, 3 is good, but I haven't heard so much of people getting bloated. I know people that are like, yeah, I took it and I just started putting on muscle mass too fast, so I don't take it. And that's fair. Then these are people that are genetically sort of like look at a weight and you gain 2 pounds of muscle, but um, forgot exactly where I was going with it. But yeah, whenever
With
I
the,
mean, I do 5 grams, but that's
you
what
take
one
it
scoop
before
is
you
for
work
me.
out,
It doesn't really matter in
just
terms
whenever.
of like a um looking at it from a physiological perspective. It doesn't really matter in terms
Mhm.
from what I understand of it.
Yeah, yeah. I've, like I said beforehand, like I've been feeling superhuman, serious, and had I been getting more sleep, like my wife, she's like, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I said to her yesterday, I'm like, do you need a hand with anything? Is there anything you want me to do? Like, because I've been just, I think anyway, I've been unreal around the house, just cleaning and folding the clothes, hanging the washing, doing it just to help because like I know what it's like. Ruby's just got like another human just attached to her 24/7. So just to help out as much as I can. And I'm like, oh, do you need a hand with anything? And she's like, no, why? It's like, oh, I want to go work out. And she's like, it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. How the hell do you still want to go and work out? I'm like, well, I don't feel tired, She's sitting there just like passed out on the couch. Mind you, she is practically the cow for Florence because just breastfeeding and everything like that. But like, I sleep's been sleep's been like interval training. It's like 3 hours on, 1 hour off, 3 hours on, 1 hour, like that kind of stuff. 2 hours on, maybe 30 minutes off, something like that. Um, so I can only imagine what it would be like if I was actually getting sleep and then taking the creatine as well. And also, like you get another source of creatine is eating a shit ton of red meat, and like that's what I've been having for as long as I can remember. So it's probably because like maybe I am used to that, maybe, but just getting that extra loading of creatine, man, I feel great. I was up, I did some cardio this morning just because like later on today I'll jump on the weights and get the weights done. Like I'm doing 2 sessions a day and I'm getting less sleep and I'm feeling great. And like I'm not really knocking back that much coffee, although every time we're on a podcast, it's like I've got a coffee in my hand because it's just the in thing to do.
You
But
just
like
you need one to
coffee's
deal with me, yeah.
how did you know? Mm. Yeah, it's like it's interesting the fact that like so you're talking like 5 grams and one and a half scoops of this is 3 grams. So I'm taking probably 3 grams, but loading it throughout the day. So just had one this morning with protein shake, and then I've been taking some glutamine as well, and then the third of the creatine, and then probably at like 12, 1, 2 o'clock, something like that, I'll have another one just with like a bit of water, knock it back, and then almost like before I go to bed at nighttime, I'll just have another one. And like I feel great. Like I said, all things considered, considering I'm not sleeping, I feel fantastic.
Yeah, I've been totally off the supplement train. Uh, on and off the supplement train unintentionally. Not that I don't think supplements are helpful, but I just don't remember to take them. The only thing I've been remembering to take is my magnesium 3 and 8 at night. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
knocks me out. Unreal.
Knocks it out like a
Um,
light.
yeah, and like help me stay asleep. That's beneficial. But that part of there's some stuff with that and the GABA and the neurotransmitter typing that being deficient in GABA for me probably helped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Collagen, take
Mm-hmm.
collagen on and off. Try to and I can remember 30, 30 grams, I think. I think 30 grams of collagen in some orange juice is generally the recommended amount. D3, creatine, What else? Something else I'm forgetting. Can't remember what else. Oh,
That's probably the other thing.
Multi,
I
but
was going to say vitamin D3. Is that you said vitamin D3? Is that what you said?
yeah.
Yeah, I've been taking that. We take that every night. We've got like drops. This stuff's potent, and it's just like, I feel, again, maybe it's probably that too. It's probably a mixture of all the little things that I'm doing, because like I feel great. I think the vitamin D3 has been really, really good for like my I'd say maybe like my immunity, because like I haven't really, I mean, touch wood, haven't had, and like there's sickness all around, and we've got a little one as well, and I'm not sleeping, and I'm probably not eating as much as what I should be, and it's like, well, so that's kind of keeping me on the train. Speaking of things that help, I wanted to get your take on how you can actually get results better. This will lead into something else afterwards, but so one of my clients, two of my clients actually, and we've been doing like an accountability thing, like really just trying to help keep each other accountable. We're getting up early, we're doing workouts, we're going they're going for walks, I'm going for walks, they're doing it together, like to really help. And this is more from like a health and longevity and fat loss perspective as well, or point of view. And I wanted to hear like your perspective on that. And like there's a lot of people that do it by themselves, but I don't think that it sort of needs to be done by yourself. Like it's always important to reach out to ask. Do you think that like people struggle to ask because they don't want the answer to be no, or do you think that they don't want to ask because they don't know they can ask? Or like what do you think there's to that?
What, asking somebody to be like a training partner or an accountability partner, or what?
Training partner, yeah, accountability partner. I mean, like even for example, like you have clients come to you. So clients come to you, they do their workout. It's maybe an hour tops of a workout, but then everything else, either side of that, you've got like 23 hours where there's sleep, and then there's eating, and then there's obviously work, and then there's all the other stuff. And like they obviously want to get the best that they can, or become the best that they can. So it's like, how can you keep them more accountable, or how can they stay more accountable in your perspective? Like what do you think is probably the best way for them to stay more accountable? Is it by surrounding themselves with you for longer? I mean, without you sort of being there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the best results would be like if you were like, I want to get stronger, I want to put on some mass. It would be like the absolute best thing that I could do is like be attached to your side 24/7 and like force you to do all the things. So I mean, the more accountability, the better. Like I mean, yeah. I think the reason people don't,
is it motivation? Like, and I don't think that that's I think that's a bit of a cop out. Like, I'm not motivated enough to do it. It's like, well, are you sick of being sore and injured, or living a shit life, or not? And if the answer is no, then okay.
yeah. I mean, it's like, what do you value more? Like there's sometimes that I have a conversation with my dad, like, yeah, you should probably stop eating this, or like stop drinking like beers like that, or like whatever. And he's like, I don't want to. And he's just like, all right, if you'd rather keep eating pretzels at night, like more than you'd like to have whatever result not eating pretzels is gonna bring you, then like there's no way that I'm gonna be able to convince you otherwise, unless and like if you're already aware of the evidence and what like outcomes of it is, like it's not. So it's like there's the Charles Poliquin. Now I'm blanking out what the actual Charles Poliquin quote was, but it was something along the along the lines of like there's no. I'm not even gonna try because now I totally forgot it. Shouldn't have taken that nap 30 minutes ago, but now I sound like an idiot. But it's something along the lines of like, do you love the outcome more than what you have to give up for it? Like the myth of discipline, little bits of it are coming back to me at a time. It's called the myth of discipline, And it's something along the lines of, yeah, like how bad do you want the results, or how much do you hate where you're at right now? How bad do you want to be where you're at? Then it's like, all right, well, there's no need for discipline if you like
Hmm.
want that so much worse than everything else. It's so this was a really roundabout way to get into your question, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't know that it's like you could just ask somebody else. It's like, oh yeah, we do it together or something, or some people just don't care. There's a lot of different situations.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking as well, we had a fan reach out of the podcast, and he's been out of action for the past 11 months with a reoccurring hamstring injury. So he had a grade 2 semimembranosus tear in his hamstring. He's still rehabbing that, and he's been trying to implement a lot of ATG protocols such as sledding and back extension. He says he has a Nordic, but he's nowhere at that level of handling it yet. And he's just wondering if we have any tips or ideas on programming and how often to sled, to back extension. I mean, I've got a whole lot of other things as well that we can throw into that too. Some daily or every other day activities. So he says that he keeps getting to a fairly good point where he progresses to RDLs. Then he has a setback and he has to kind of drop it back. So any help would be very grateful for. So that's Curtis. I'm going to send this one to Curtis anyway, just as a surprise for him. Or he might listen to it and just be like, "Oh, hey, shit, nice,
Yeah.
man." But what do you, from your opinion? I mean, I've got a couple of things as well, but I'd like to hear from yourself first. What do you think he needs to do to help with the grade 2 tear that he's constantly going back and re-injuring?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with re-injuring is that you
I
push
mean, you're the
too
king of that,
fast.
aren't you? You're the
Yeah.
king of.
Oh, yeah. I am. If anybody has re-injured something more times, then it's me. For me, it's just like maybe never stop being injured. But the thing with me has always been you push too fast somewhere. Like, all right, I think I'm ready to go back. I think I'm ready for this weight. I think I'm ready for this exercise. I think I'm ready for that. And then it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, am I really? Am I really ready for this? Like, and it's like, yeah, I could probably stay away, but like, I think I'm ready to get back on the pitch. Like, let's go. And then it's like, bam, it's out. And it's like, all right, well, shouldn't have done that yet. But I mean, if the general thing with the hamstring, I mean, you got to hit all four. Let me collect my thoughts a little bit. I mean, yeah, really. Like, I'm gonna set off the smoke alarm in here with the wheels turning. But you can sled every day. One of the things that doesn't get posted about it very often anymore are forward bent over sled drags. Ben used to call them reverse out hamstring pain, but it's like you get into your RDL position and you hold the straps behind you and you walk forward like that, and it's like this wicked on your hamstring, stretch, strengthen. It's basically like bottom quarter single leg RDLs almost. Whether you're at that level or not, whether you could do it with no weight, just an empty sled or something, that's something worth trying for. You could do it every day. You could another thing I think these aren't even coherent, but just training tips I think is when you're coming back from re-injury, you want to wait till the soreness is gone. So like if you're doing RDLs one day and you're like, Jesus, I'm wicked sore for the next like 4 days, and you're supposed to hit your next hamstring session 3 days after it, don't do it. Like you can like if you're squatting and like you're free of injury and you're like, I'm a little bit sore, like I'll squat anyway. You don't want to do that coming back from a muscular injury. And it's possible. I mean, you sort of have to look at the rest of the body as well. It's like, is there a compensation pattern somewhere? Like, is your lower back super weak? Are you? That's where some of the neurological stuff can be interesting. But in general, I mean, you just have to upgrade the hardware. Like, it really is find the levels that you can work at. Hamstring curls, work your way back to Nordics, back extensions, Jefferson curls, RDLs, or whatever level you can work at, and keep going. And like if you keep re-injuring it, hold yourself back a little. Like keep yourself at a level you know you're comfortable with, not comfortable with, but know that you can stay without injury at, and then like painstakingly slow. Like you might think like, yeah, it's gonna take forever for me to recover, but is it gonna take you longer to do it the right way, or is it gonna take more time away from you to do it wrong and get hurt again? So, a couple thoughts there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. So obviously, short range is probably what's best for him, considering there's continual like re-injury in that or by the sounds of things, re-injury in that hamstring. When you're getting that blood flow, it's that constant renewal of blood, which is always keeping that tissue healthy. So short range exercise is going to be a go-to. You've got like the short range hammy flicks, the standing ones that you can do that can really target the top of the tissue or the hamstring tissue. And I agree. I love the idea of the sled behind and pull it. Even if you don't want to hold on to it with your hands, like wrap it around your waist and just use that and just slowly walk forward. Going on what you were saying about having a look at some other things as well. So whether it is lower back strength or even hips too, like maybe getting into the incline pigeon just to open up your hips a little bit more, working as well. I think programming, like one thing that I've noticed considering injury wise, I've been, apart from 3 ACL reconstructions, but soft tissue wise, the upper lower splits, and having one kind of like push day, then one pull day, then one push day, then one pull day in the upper and the lower, I found for me has been really beneficial because you don't really overexert yourself as much. And it doesn't have to be like you're doing chest and then squat and then pull or back and then deadlifts. Like I think it's cool to like target the accessory movements as well in and amongst that too. Because like you said, like I think that there's definitely going to be some patterning issues there too. And it's important that you address those as well, like those little intricate movements or those intricate muscles, which you don't really think about as much, or things that might be getting overworked or whatnot. But I think that one big thing is short range movements is going to be key in terms of the recovery or in terms of actually keeping the blood flow moving. And again, like don't overdo yourself. So that's why when I do my upper and lower splits within my days, like I don't feel fatigued, I don't feel tired, so there's no chance of me re-injuring that side of things, if that makes sense, because I'm not constantly going back again the next day and doing something that's probably going to fuck my hamstrings up, or do something to my knee or whatever else there is, maybe bust my shoulder, like because I'm pushing in different planes, different motions, different things, always different days. That's what works really, really well with me. So it might be something that you'd like to try if Curtis is listening to this, just to change things up a little bit. That's what I think would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think another interesting thing that you can look at is with is foot angle when you're doing something like a leg curl, because you can target the different muscles in the hamstring based on the different foot position. If you're looking for somebody, whatever, if you want the inside of the hamstring, you need to bring your feet inwards on the hamstring curl. There's an interesting protocol for hamstring. It's more of a knee pain protocol, but for knee pain caused by hamstring irritation, it's 6 weeks of 3 times a week leg curls. First week is toes dorsiflexed and feet turned in 3 times a week, 8 reps, 4 to 5 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Next week is dorsiflex toes straight. Next week is dorsiflex toes out. And then repeat the 3 weeks, plantar flex, toes in, toes middle, toes out. Mm-hmm. So you're doing 72 hamstring, whatever. You're doing 360 sets of hamstring curls in 6 weeks. Valuable. It's a short range motion though, so you can't do that and neglect an RDL or a Jefferson curl or even a back extension. And it's solely knee flexion, so you do need your hip extension as well. But like it's hard to target different areas of the hamstring like that in a hip extension exercise. So that can be valuable. And I mean, there's other modalities that you can use as well, like keeping a hot pack on it more often to promote. If you can get TENS units for like $30. They don't actually promote any healing, but they can help with pain, and they might help a little bit with healing. Who knows? Massage, if you think it helps. Like, yeah, I mean, it's short range, and until you can tolerate long range, and then long range at what you can tolerate, a little bit below what you think you can long range a little bit below what you know you can tolerate as you move forward. And then I think what's important is slowly dosing in like more active movements. Like, you can't go from the weight room to sprinting after a hamstring injury. It just doesn't work. Like, you can, as much as I hate stupid little drills like leg swings or like just like moving around and getting into different positions, like without an aim, they're kind of stupid, but like that's kind of required to reintroduce your hamstring to like fast movements. Like, and even like slower running, slower jogging, like, again, at a low level, a low intensity that you can handle for sure, and moving forward with that. So yeah, I think that's fair.
There's some good ones. Like, I mean, you've got those A march and B march exercises, which look, I mean, for me, there's obviously something to it because people keep doing them, and I mean, it must work for someone. But like, there's a really, really good one. We actually on the fence, and you got one hand on the fence, and the leg that's further away from the fence is the one that's kind of doing that snapping motion. So like coming up, knee comes up, leg goes out, then goes down, and it's like getting you into that stimulus of sprinting almost. You're not sprinting, but you're kind of getting into that stimulus of sprinting, which is what you were talking about. So I think adding a little bit of that definitely would promote or encourage your hamstring to like deal with that stimulus. And also, like you've said too, really, really important that like less is probably better for this particular case anyway, by the sounds of things, if it continually keeps re-injuring. And you're talking about like the 360 sets or whatever it was of the hamstring curls. Like, don't go and do stupid amount of weight. Like, do something that you can do well. You put a really good reel up, or I mean, I don't know whether you did it today. It came up today in my feed this morning while I was up taking care of my child, trying to stay awake and sane. It kept me awake. And it's like, do every rep to perfection. Like, don't just go and do it and smash out as many reps as you can, like, or with the heaviest weight possible. Obviously, if your goal as a power lifter or a weight lifter and is to lift as much weight as possible, then go for it. But if your goal is to get out of pain, or your goal is to move better, or your goal is just for lifestyle purposes, like, you want every rep that you do to be like incrementally better than the next one. Like, just keep that consistency and make them feel and look just perfect. So that is probably one of the big things that I think is not really targeted as much. It's like that concentration and that focus of like, every time I do a rep, it says 4 seconds, I'm doing it for 4 seconds. Like 1, 2, that slow, like not doing it 1, 2, 3, like you're doing it to perfection. And if you want to see perfect results, which no one's ever going to achieve or attain, but if you want to get to those results, you need to be like dialed into how you're doing things, or else nothing's going to happen, and you're going to continually re-injure yourself, and you're going to continue to be in pain, and then we're going to be going around on the merry-go-round, just back and forth. Jacks will round and round, not back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of merry-go-rounds you have to go back and forth, but
when you're on the horse, on the horse.
Oh yeah, you put the quarter in, and
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another thing to be said with that hamstring protocol is everything is 4x, so tempo, 4 seconds down, no pause at the bottom. It's explode up, but it really means like up just quickly in that term of under control, and then no pause at the top. But the other thing is that everything should be at a 0 out of 10 pain the whole time. Like, every rep should be 0 out of 10. And when you're coming back from the hamstring strain, everything should be 0 out of 10 pain. Like, if it's a 1, it's too much. Like,
Hmm.
unless you can't find a 0, then a 1 is okay. But like, it's still, yeah, like it's that's the nature of coming back from injuries. Is it sucks, especially a re-injury. Um, but it's I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do, but the basics are probably what's most important, and then slowly getting back into um sprinting, because there was something interesting that somebody posted. This is getting a little bit away from specific recommendations, but somebody said it a long time ago that you should sprint 100% before you get back to live play after a hamstring injury. And then it's like, yeah, but what if I re-injure it then? It's like, what do you think you're gonna do if you get back to the game, dummy? Like if you re-injured it during that sprint, you would have re-injured it when you were playing anyway. So it's the same sort of, yeah, that was kind of out of nowhere, but something I liked. It could be valuable for coming back from injuries.
I mean, and like to reiterate again, like I've never hardly ever had strains. I wouldn't say never. I mean, I maybe had one or two in my life. So from my experience, it's not something that I'm used to experiencing. That I mean, I had the only one that I can remember. I had a strain in the grand final, which I was on anti-inflammatories, and like they had me doing. It was a day before a game. It was, now when I think back to it, it was so stupid. They had me practicing like an absurd amount of crosses into the box. And so like it was just come back and around, go back, come back and around, go back, come back. And it was just like it was continuous for like half an hour. And I remember after doing it, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's like a bit tight. Oh, it's only tight. It'll be all right. Then it like got worse and got worse and got worse and got worse. And I was on anti-inflammatories. We had to like strap it up, tape it up. It was horrible. Actually, that year in general, I had some pretty gnarly things happen. I remember I rolled both ankles, and like so my ankles were strapped up. I sprained my medial ligament from like contact. So I went to go clear a ball, and someone kicked, when you kick the ball at the same time, and he just leathered the crap out of the ball, and my knee went back, and so I sprained my medial ligament. And then I think I did something in my shoulder, like I fell over on my shoulder, and like I could hardly move my shoulder. So I had my shoulder strapped up, had my knee strapped up, and had two ankles strapped up. I was like, Iron Man, not really strapping man. Going into
You were like the
day,
Tin Man, yeah.
literally. And in that year, like a bit of an ego boost, but I ended up winning like the Rising Star for the entire league. So it's like the whole NPL league. So it's like there is a certain amount of pain I think you need to push through, not when it's coming back from soft tissue injury like that. Like if you continually injure yourself, then that's a little bit of a different story. But I think from a sporting, again, this is going a little bit off topic, but going from a sporting point of view, like you have to be willing to tolerate a little bit of pain to be able to progress through to the next stage, like to be able to make it through. And it's like everyone's pain tolerance is different. I mean, I think I've got a pretty high pain threshold considering everything that's sort of happened. But yeah, Curtis, thank you for reaching out and asking that. And if there's anyone else who actually has any questions on anything, like it'd be pretty cool if there's been some issues that you've struggled with and you want to sort these issues out. Like who doesn't? Just reach out to either myself or Matt, and we've been more than happy to do a little bit of a spiel on it to what we think would work. I mean, there's so many people that have probably been in, like you've been in their shoes, and I'm pretty certain I've been in their shoes as well, whether it's ACL reconstruction or, busted hamstrings and ankles and whatever else there is, feet and toes and whatnot. So like reach out. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. And if you reach out, the worst thing that can happen is no. More than likely it's not going to be no. Like it's going to be a yeah, sure, we'll do it. We'll have a chat about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Last point on it. Anti-inflammatories, ice, any sort of something like that, like stop taking it. It's not gonna help the injury. Like if you're icing after every workout, like don't.
Yeah.
That's not, if you're doing the ATG stuff, I'm gonna assume that you're probably not doing that, but just to cover all the bases, like icing it is dumb at this point.
Yeah,
Not that you're dumb if you're icing it, but icing it is dumb.
yeah, agree. Again, just was doing the anti-inflammatories to make it through a game. Hardly ever took any myself. Just were you a big anti-inflammatory taker in your playing days?
Oh, the day I earned my scholarship, I took 9 ibuprofen just to be able to get out of the field.
Really?
Oh, I was huge. It was like an everyday thing for me, just because it hurt so bad.
Far out.
I
Are
remember
you
I took
serious?
yeah, I took 5 in the morning, and then I took 4 when I was like putting my stuff on because it was like bad.
Dude, you'd have holes in your stomach if you're taking that much.
That
You're
was that was
taking,
like
is
I
that
mean
once?
I haven't taken an ibuprofen in quite a long time. Maybe like for a headache a while back, but there was like a period where I was taking a lot of ibuprofen. It wasn't like 9 every time I step on the field, but it was like quite a bit.
Mm,
I could yeah,
nah.
it could have ruined my stomach. Like general consensus, if you need to take 9 ibuprofen, you probably shouldn't be playing. Unless this is the first you're
Listen to
hearing
Matt.
of it. Yeah, unless this is the first you're hearing of it. And Steph won Rising Star on anti-inflammatories, and I got a Division 1 scholarship on 9. You're like,
Hang on.
I feel like I need to start taking
Nah, I
anti-inflammatory.
didn't. I only took anti-inflammatories for the final. I didn't take anything throughout the season. I was just strapped up to the max and just played through pain. That's what I was just taught to do. I had
Hmm.
everything. There wasn't a single. Yeah, the only time I took an anti-inflammatory was when we had the final, and I had like muscular pain. The rest was like joint pain. And for me, it's like, well, that's what the taping's there for. Should be right. And this is me being dumb when I was 19. Just that's when I felt superhuman. Back then, I was apart from the fact I was falling to pieces and being kept together by tape. But you know what I mean.
Oh no, I remember in college it was like at some points it was like a daily thing. Like, all right, for practice, head to the trainer because I need an aspirin because X, Y, and Z hurt to take before I play. It really probably didn't help at all, and it probably just made everything worse. And then it was to quite a bit in high school too. So it was probably a period of like 5 to 8 years that it was like a pretty regular thing for me to take it to play.
Yeah, I would. So I would never take, and same goes with me. Like I can't remember the last time I've taken like a ibuprofen or a Panadol or something like that. Even if it is for a headache, like I'll just drink water or go have a sleep or I'll eat or have a coffee or something like that, and headache just disappears. Um, but for me, like actually no, there was that a couple months back. I ended up in hospital. Like I ate something that was no good and threw up and like burnt my esophagus. It was real weird, and so I ended up in hospital. It was they gave me some pretty hardcore stuff there. But I mean, I'm in
That's
hospital,
that's
so
that's reasonable.
you
I
gotta.
took it when I had food poisoning too. Like that's not unreasonable.
I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so. But like after trainings and after games, I mean, you take the strapping off, and then it's just like straight onto the ice everywhere. Like my feet were in the buckets. They're strapped onto my knee, strapped onto my shoulder. I was just like sitting there, just iced up to the max. And we didn't have an ice bath back then, and although it helped to have the ice, like I think that's what actually really helped with the recovery side of things for me, considering like my ankles were so sore, my knee was like actually in pain, and my shoulder. I mean, I was a fullback, had to take throw-ins, so like every time I take a throw in, it'd be like, and you throw it, it's like, oh, throwing the ball in with a strapped shoulder is not as easy as you think.
It doesn't like give you superpowers like a squat suit does or something.
No, no, it gives you the complete opposite. It's like you're throwing it in like a bit of, it's just the head wobble and everything like that. And I had a pretty gnarly throw in back in the day. Like I could hit from the sideline, I could probably hit the penalty spot just straight back in. Like, yeah, that's probably my so my erector spinae had some very very well defined rectus spinae, and I reckon that's what it was. I don't think it was anything else, but because of that, like being able to load back and just launch it into the box, and it was. I reckon I scored once from it. Yeah, I did in a school game. I scored once from a throw, and the keeper tapped it, went over his hand, and bounced in, went in. I was like, oh, yeah, good old. Do you remember Rory? Rory the Lap? go on a
Oh
bit
yeah,
further off topic.
yeah. His son plays
Yeah,
for City now. Yeah,
yeah. What a way to
wicked.
make a career.
I know. I I used to. There were a couple teams I played on that they would draw up plays for me to shoot from the corner.
For you,
Like, yeah, for me, like I scored a couple corners straight up because we called it box, and it was like the whole team just stands around the goalkeeper, and then I shoot.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it was wicked. I scored a couple of those. Um, that's fun. I like
We
I
had
like that.
we had a player that did that as well. Like it wasn't really like this was a while ago too. It wasn't really like a tactic, but it was just like his chance to have a shot on goal, and he would just take the corners just to try. Like he would just do it every single time, and like he scored probably 2 or 3 times in a season, or we scored like maybe 5 or 6 goals from it in the season as well because it would just like just land on their head, try the front post. So yeah, we this year actually is very reminiscent of like the year that all that sort of stuff happened with the final and NPL Rising Star and everything like that. At the moment we're sitting second in the NPL SA at the moment, where we've got a game in hand and we're sitting on something like I think we've conceded eight or 11 goals or something. Our goal difference is at 22. This is the halfway point of the season, so we've scored something. What is it? 30 goals 30 goals and conceded 8. So like we can score some goals, and it's very very similar to the way that year is kind of panning out. And what's really really cool is the fact that injury wise we've been able to have, or the coach has been able to have 21 players out of 22 pretty much a whole way through. It's like I was talking with the assistant coach who was there last year, and he's asked him, was like, you ever had a full team to choose from like this at this point in the season? And he was like, never. There would always be maybe 5 or 6 players out, whether it's like hamstring soreness or done something to their ankle, rolled their ankle, sprain. Even those that have rolled their ankles, because we play on artificial turf, and I know that you don't have an issue with it, but here in Australia we're built differently. We like to play natural, and so there's been a couple of like rolls or ankle rolls and that sort of stuff, and it's just like bang, we're straight back up and straight back into it again. And the recovery aspect, I think it's just from all the pre-ac and prehab that we're doing, as well as the loadings too. Like because we've got the catapult system and everything like that, we can see the loadings of each individual player. So like, we've got to flag that one because that player's getting a little bit too high there. So let's just taper him off a little bit. And it's been amazing, man. Like it's the squad has hardly changed, which is it's great. I mean, from a playing perspective, if you're a player that's not playing, it's not so great though, because you have to wait for injury, suspension, poor performance, and there hasn't been much of that lately.
Yeah, love to hear that. Hey, you guys are built a little bit differently. It's probably more fragile because you can't handle the artificial turf, but it is different. I'll give you that. I don't know. The artificial turf is a weird one because it's like the whole American football. We're making a whole huge deal about it. Like they hate it, and it's like I'm like I don't know. I played on artificial turf forever, and I played on grass too. Like it's doesn't make a big difference to me. Maybe I'm just built
Yeah.
different. I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably
I
what it
mean,
is.
I think that's probably what it is actually, because like you're never injured till you were never injured or anything like that. It's not like
Yeah.
you're taking 9 ibuprofen before trainings and.
Yeah, not that I ever had any issues. Like,
Oh wow, what's been cooking from your end?
nothing super new. I'm going down. There's a bunch of ATG guys going down to Florida
Sick.
in next when am I leaving? I'm leaving a week from Sunday. So 2 days, 9 days from now I'm heading down. I better get my dates right. I think 9 days from now I'm heading down. I'll be down there for like 5 days.
Oh, sick. Very nice.
All kinds of workouts. See what we got going on there. But that'll be a good time. Share some ideas. There's gonna be a bunch of soccer guys down there. And we'll I don't know. I wanna I need to find other people to play all the Brazilian games with me.
Is it
Like Altinha is like a Brazilian game. It's like where there's like four. You've probably seen it online, and you're like, "What the hell are these guys doing? It's ridiculous." But like, they're so good. It's like there's four people and kind of like a diamond, and like it's just with the ball, and like you like hit it across, and you bounce, and it's all one touch stuff in the air. Then you're like attacking, and you're setting other people up, and you're like hitting at them. There's no teams. There's no like real scoring to it, but it's just like,
It's fun.
oh, it's so much fun. And like foot volley, like just volleyball with the soccer rules. Uh, one of the I sent Keegan this the other day. One of the guys I played with in college ended up playing tech ball. Have you seen tech
Yeah,
ball with like the curved
yeah,
table?
yeah.
He, him and his partner finished eighth in the world a couple weeks ago.
Wow, get out. Far
Yeah,
out.
wicked. He was my foot volley partner when we were in college.
He's gone on to foot volley superstardom, and you have not.
I have not. Yeah, he was also much better than me, but it was. I used to sidetrack the whole what's going on conversation, but it used to be me and like three of the Brazilian guys that would go play foot volley at the courts, and I was not as good as they were, but I think I was better than everybody else, so they let me come. Um, but I miss that, dude. That's like the most fun game ever for me. Like
Mm.
it's like just as much fun as like a real footy match.
Yeah, yeah. We
Playing,
do we do the one touch or whatever at halftime because I'm out obviously at the games and that. We'll do a little bit of one touch and like it's always good fun with. I mean, it's not the same as foot volley because you don't really have time to set up a court and everything like that. But just keeping it up in the air and just like knocking the ball around, shoulders, heads, chest, knees, heels, like all that sort of stuff. Like it's just good fun just doing it.
oh, I love it. They were sand volleyball courts at school.
Sand.
So we
Oh,
always we
sick.
always played we always played in the sand on like a real volleyball net. Um, wicked, so much fun.
Yeah.
I got embarrassed every time because it was, but I got better. I got good. By the time we stopped playing, I was really solid. Like
Mm.
my touch had never been better. I was never more comfortable with a ball in the air or playing two touch, any of that. Like the Brazilian rubbed off on me. I didn't get any of the Portuguese, but it was wicked. It was wicked.
Scarin- Scarinho.
That's a sick
Scorinho.
name.
That is very
Scorinia.
cool.
Scorinia. Kind of like yeah, like a Grinch or something.
Yeah,
What a
definitely.
yeah. Besides that, what do you got going on?
Just consolidating, man. Just continuing to work out of home. I am actively looking for somewhere else at the moment. I'm really I'm really wanting to build a community. Like that is my big goal at the moment. You know, I wasn't really a fan of the online aspect or the online stuff. And I mean, although it's great and it's an easy way kind of for cash flow and that and for like leveraging your time, um, I just still think that nothing beats having that kind of in-person connection and communication with one another. And it's just like you can feed off of that sort of stuff. So for me, it's about finding a place, and I'm very fortunate and very very lucky. I've got two really really good mates who are actually clients of mine, and we're going in sort of threes on a place, and so we're just starting to put things in motion and create a little bit of like a hub and a community, and that just somewhere where obviously they can train, we can train together, they can run their business out of there as well. Um, but then ultimately, like that's kind of the platform for me to sort of take that next step and start bringing more of ATG to Adelaide, basically, because there's only really two coaches here. One's Nevin, and then the other one's me. And um, yeah, it's just like I know that there's so much value in ATG, and there's a lot of missed opportunity for a lot of people, and so many people. And I'm not bashing these places, but so many people are out bashing themselves, doing body fit or these high intensity interval trainings when their body's like you could be feeling and doing a lot better with your body if you were training a little bit wiser. Albeit like it's great that they are doing something too. So it's like it's kind of finding that balance, and I really want to be able to offer some things to people even like just the simple dense style training. Like for me, I reckon that's why like now I'm sitting comfortably at 76 and I've been training consistently for the last 5 weeks, and I'm not like I was at 79, and I think that's just because of the way that I was eating, but then I just dropped down. Now I'm sitting at 76. I'm like, well, I can't really lose any more weight. I'm sure that I could. But like I'm just consistently there, and I think it's just because like I have put on a little bit of mass, like a little bit of size, because I do feel like I'm getting compliments too. You know, looking bigger, legs looking bigger, arms, shoulders looking bigger, and you feel that way too. And so I think that I put on a little bit of size as well, and I want to be able to obviously offer that to people and offer that style of training because I know how valuable and potent it is to be able to build that dense, strong tissue.
Yeah. You got to get a tech ball table in there. That would
Oh,
be
100%.
wicked.
100%. We're already got it down pat, man. We're going to get a tech ball table would be great, or a tennis table
Ping
tennis
pong.
table,
Yeah, yeah.
and then ping pong. Getting the ice baths in there, getting the sauna in there as well. I picked up bargain hunter. I love it. I picked up a sled track, 10-meter sled tracks, like proper sled tracks, usually like $1,200, $1,500 for $150 on Marketplace. I'm like, I am sold. Went
What a
there,
deal.
this just gonna sit in the back of my car, don't even care. Just gonna sit in the back of my car, sorted, ready to go. Like, and we haven't even got a place yet. Like, so we're just we're working towards, just putting things together and making it all happen. So yeah, it's really exciting, and there's obviously some things that we kind of need to work through and get through. But ultimately, that's my goal. That's what I am working towards now. Like I am actively looking for things. Notice how I keep saying I am, because I am like making it happen. It's happening. We're doing it. So it's a big step for me, because previously would have been like brick and mortar. Nah, fuck that. I can't be bothered. I got to go and outlay everything. Put everything out, do it all by myself. But there's something to be said for doing it. Going with people. You know what I mean? If you want to, what's the saying? If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. And so I think that's the way you say it, not the other way around. I'm pretty sure it's that way. Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing, man. You're doing this with other people, and it's something that really makes me want to invest more into it, not in terms of money, but in terms of time and knowledge and understanding and all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting. It's all, who knows? Might be happening sooner rather than later. Might be happening later rather than sooner. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I love it. That's what I've been looking to figure out if there's an opportunity to do something like that for me right now. I don't know. It's hard. It is hard on your own, especially, I mean, just the money to like rent a place outside of where you live is like kind of wicked even here. I mean, I would imagine it's probably about the same kind of price there, but it's like you would have to work with quite a few people just to like break even on rent and utilities and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, there are opportunities. Sometimes things come up.
Find someone or a group of people who you like, you might know, or you might need some like storage space or something like that, or maybe they also want to work out of there, or like, so that's what we're doing. One of my good mates, he owns a cafe, and he needs a little bit more storage and a place to sort of roast his coffee. And then the other mate is using it as like a place to store a lot of his equipment. He's an electrician, so he needs a place to store a lot of stuff. And then there's me, just for the gym. They both want to keep fit. They both want to use the gym. Well, there you go. Like, let's build it, man. So, and then it's just a matter of sort of building it from there. And when you don't have as much outlay, or you don't have as much in terms of like rent to pay or the utilities, because it is a lot, man. It's heaps, and it is better to do it with other people. But then you've got to be careful of who you do it with too. Like, do you have total trust and connection with these people? Because I think that's very, very important as well. You don't just want to go and jump into something with someone you don't know. So yeah, I think that you put it out there, it'll happen, man. It'll come.
Yeah, it's part of it is me kind of feeling like an ATG purist almost. Like, not that it's like I wouldn't accept anything else besides ATG in a gym, but it's like some of the people that I know, the trainers, like really, it's like quite significantly different from the way I train people. And it's like I don't know that those two can coexist in the same gym. Like if somebody's training athletes powerlifting style and I'm training in like an ATG sort of dense whatever style, it's gonna be hard to have one message. And then you can't have the fluidity like Ben, like the way Ben Clarefield has it set up in Toronto, like any of the trainers there can take any of the clients and it's all the same sort of idea, belief, terms,
You're getting very
technique,
similar
whatever.
things from almost everyone there. It's just
Yeah.
like it's the same value point. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like that allows a flexibility that you wouldn't get if like you have to take every training session yourself. So it's different. It is what it is. It's something comes up, time to take it. If not, it's all right. Something
Get
will come
the
eventually.
get the Indiana. Anyone else ATG coach in Indiana? Indianapolis, sorry.
Not close to me.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else,
Get them all together.
yeah, everybody else. I don't know who actually. I don't know that there's any other certified coaches in Indiana. There might be one girl in Indianapolis, but I don't know. There's not.
Yeah.
There's not much. I've been referred people from ATG because I was the only coach here. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, brother.
It is. I think we've been running for about an hour now. Where can everybody keep up with you? Work. You just said you don't want to work with people online, but
no, it's not that I don't want to work with people online. It's just that for me, I would much rather see you in person. But if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. Like that's not. I mean, we had Curtis reach out online, so that's where it's really, really cool that you can have someone from the UK reach out to you and say, "Hey man, I'm listening to what you're doing. Love what you're doing. Can you help me with this?" So if you want to do any of that and you want to ask any questions, please just reach out to me on Instagram, Coach Carly with the 3 eyes, and I'd love to be able to help you. Like after this, I'm just gonna flick Curtis a message, let him know, like, "Hey man, we just answered it on the podcast. So if you want to listen to it, check it out. And thanks for all the help and that and the following." So yeah, that's where you can find me. Apart from that, there's nowhere else I am apart from in person in here in Adelaide. So how about you, Matty?
yeah, Score Performance. It'll be linked down below if you can't spell it. And it's sort of hard to spell. It's not that bad, but yeah, come out in person or online, whatever you got to do. Make a change, make a transformation. It's off season time here, so sort of depending on what level you play at. Sometimes it's off season. So anyway, thanks for everybody who made it this far, and we'll catch everybody next week.